Hey YouTube, welcome to today's tech video. Today's video was actually supposed to be our first video about tech on the channel, but I had to post a video about the Go XLR because I was having a specific issue that I couldn't find a solution for. And since I did find a solution on my own, felt like it needed to be out there on the internet. Today's video, we're going to actually talk about my gaming PC, which is this one right here behind me, the parts that are in it and why I chose those parts. We're going to go over just a PCPartsPicker.com page that I made all the parts in this computer and see what you guys think. In later videos, I'm going to go over my streaming PC, other stuff on my desk, and other tech that I come across or like that I think you guys would enjoy hearing about. Hopefully these videos are informative and interesting for you. I enjoy tech, everything about it, and so I enjoy also talking about it, obviously, and so I think this is going to be a lot of fun doing these tech videos for you all. If you enjoyed today's video, please like, subscribe, and comment down below. Also remember, I stream on Twitch. I stream on Twitch every Monday and Tuesday in the evenings, sometimes on Thursdays if I have extra time to do that. I'm totally happy to answer questions or just have you in there to enjoy some video games with me. So now that I've given you this long intro, let's roll the intro and talk about the gaming PC. All right, guys, so let's get into the parts here. I chose the AMD Ryzen 9 5900X 12-core processor for my gaming build. And I did that because I believed it to be the best bang for the buck once I could get my hands on one at MSRP. It's a powerhouse and it games better than most CPUs on the market. So, get that high FPS, that's why I chose that one. For the CPU cooler, I went with the Corsair iQ H115i Elite Capellix liquid cooler. This is actually a 280 radiator CPU all-in-one liquid cooler. And I went with this one basically for the same reason. You get the best cooling for an AIO with the 280 for the price. Right, the 360s are a little too much, and the 240s are so close in price to the 280s that it just didn't make sense for me not to go with 280. Next up in the list is the Gigabyte X570 Aorus Pro Wi-Fi ATX motherboard. This is obviously a motherboard specific for the AMD CPU. It has a X16, X8, X4, and 2 X1 PCI slots that I was planning on using all of those slots, right? So I've got the GPU in one of those in the X16 slot. I've got actually a USB 3.0 PCI card in there that gives me 4 extra USB 3.0 ports. And there's some other peripherals that I plan on getting in the future that I might need those for. All right, this next item on the list could be considered overkill. But in the state of the way games are starting to be made and things, and productivity stuff that I do, felt like if I just went with like 4 sticks of 8 gigs each and only had 32 gigs of RAM, that I wouldn't end up having enough in the future, because I'm planning on this PC. I'm not upgrading anything on this PC for a while. So I went with the Corsair Vengeance RGB Pro SL 32 gigabyte. So you get 2 sticks of 16 gigs each, DDR4 3600 CL18 memory. So I have a total of 64 gigs, and this is basically a future proofer for me because I don't want to have to upgrade this thing for at least 2 to 3 years. And even then, I might be able to just keep the RAM. All right, next on the list, let's actually start with the M.2 drive, the Samsung 980. So one thing I didn't mention about the motherboard is it's PCIe 4.0. and that just means faster read writes and basically faster memory transfer between PCI slots and the CPU. And so I went with a 4th gen PCI M.2 from Samsung, and it's a 1 terabyte card. I also have these Samsung 2.5 inch solid states. One's at 1 terabyte and one's 500 gigs. So the 1 terabyte basically houses my, the M.2 drive basically houses Windows and other programs that I want to use extra quick, I guess. And the 1 terabyte and 500 gigabyte 2.5 inch drives, they basically just house all my games. Next is down to the GPU. As you can see, I ended up with a 3090. Definitely overkill for a gaming PC. Great for gaming / productivity, or if you're thinking of going with a 1 PC streaming build, because using the NVENC encoder on these GPUs, especially a 3090 with 24 gigabytes of VRAM, would be able to game and stream no problem. I don't do that, but the reason I went with the 3090 was because of prices of GPUs. I actually ended up getting this card for MSRP, luckily, somehow. And because I got it at that price, I was like, all right, pull the plug, because that's how much 3080s cost right now, which is what I would have preferred to have, but not in the state that the economy is, or economy, just GPU sales is. Can't find one. If you do, they're being price gouged, just a mess. So I was lucky, found the 3090 at MSRP, and never looked back. I'm also running a 1440p monitor, and because I'm doing that was another reason I needed a 3080 or a 3090. And so again, it came down to price and what was available, and I just happened to get my hands on this one at the price that all the 3080s are going for. So, all right, next on this list is the Lian Li LandCool 2 Mesh ATX mid tower case. So I went with this case because basically it's got a lot of airflow. The price was right, $120 for this case. Comes with 3 RGB fans in the front, and basically was just bang for the buck for a full ATX build. This thing is optimal for cooling and fits everything I need it to. All right, and we now are up to the EVGA G5 1000 watt 80 plus gold power supply. Most 3080, 3090 cards, I think they suggest like 750 watts minimum, might be 850 for the 3090s, but I figured I could get my hands on a 1000 watt one, go ahead and do it, and you have headroom, right? So that's kind of why I went that route. All right, next, just a couple extra case fans. Basically, the Lian Li case didn't have a rear out fan, so I needed a fan to pull air out, and I bought another one to pull cool air in from the bottom of the case to help keep the GPU cool down. So I've got cool air coming in from the front and the bottom and going out the top and the back. All right, let's talk about these two monitors. We've got the AOC 1920 by 1080 144 hertz gaming monitor. This monitor is just my second monitor. I wanted something that was good as like a backup gamer if something went wrong with my main gaming monitor, but was also just a good cheap monitor for my secondary monitor. You don't need to go big with a secondary monitor. And that brings us to the big kahuna, the Samsung Odyssey G7 32 inch 31.5 inch 1440p 240 hertz monitor. This monitor is amazing. It initially had a flicker issue when you were gaming when they first came out with it, but a firmware update has come out that has fixed that. And when I bought mine, which was just recently, it came with the most recent firmware update in it. So there's no really needing to worry about anything like that. All right, heading down the list, we got the Logitech G Pro RGB wired gaming keyboard. I went wired just because at the time, this keyboard was not this 216 bucks. I got it for 150 bucks. I also got it, you can choose the type of keys that come with it. I have the tactile browns. You can get linear reds, or is it linear blues and clicky reds? I think you can choose between any three when you're ordering it. And I went with the brown tactiles, and I feel like they're just great. Love this keyboard. I would go wireless, but it was a lot more expensive, and who cares about one more wire? All right, next is the Logitech G502 Hero wired optical mouse. The G502 I have been using for a couple years now. It's not overly heavy. It's accurate. It doesn't have, like, when I click, it clicks, you know, like, it just works. The extra buttons on there are helpful for some video games like Fortnite and I don't know, mostly Fortnite with building and stuff, you know. Lastly would be my headset. Now, this headset actually isn't the one I have. I do have a Plantronics Rig 800, but it's not the HD, it's the LX, which is actually was made for the Xbox/PC. And the reason that I use this headset is because it was on sale. It had surround sound, Dolby Atmos surround sound. And I've tried so many headsets. I even recently tried the SteelSeries Arctis Pro, and I don't know if I got a bad set or if I just didn't get a good firmware up. I don't know what happened. I updated the firmware, I did all the software stuff, and when I would turn my character in game, the sound like didn't follow my character in my headset. It actually disappeared completely. So and these are comfortable. I can wear them forever, and they last 24 hours before they need a charge. They're just great headset, and I got them for $100. They're impossible to find now, so that's a problem in the future if I ever break mine, but that's what I have. There's a couple other things in the build, and I'm going to try to show you those in the full screen cam here. All right, I'm probably going to be a little bit blurry because I had to make it so that you could see this. This guy right here is just a $50 LCD screen that you plug into a USB port to power. And so I run an HDMI cable from here, literally just down into the case, into this guy. And what this does is basically just tells me my CPU usage. It's just a status monitor. And it's really important if I'm trying to keep an eye on my temperatures, in case the room is starting to feel warm and stuff like that. I can turn on a cooler or whatever I need to do to cool down the PC, but it's a nice little added feature that nobody needs, but I threw in there anyway. If you were to go on Amazon and type in Raspberry Pi 5-inch LCD screen, this is what you would find. I'm going to post a link for it in the description below, and also for that 3.0 PCIe hub that I bought. So I have a PCIe card in here that's got 4 extra 3.0 slots, and then this thing. So those are 2 items I couldn't put on my PC part picker list. That will be linked in the description, along with a link to my list at pcpartpicker.com for you guys to check out at if you want to. It's basically the best way for me to link the parts so that you can go look at them or purchase them yourselves if you're interested in them. But they're everything about this PC is amazing. It works great. I don't have any issues with it. It's just a great PC. And that's basically it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. And we see you in the next tech video.